Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, other persons out in the world or universe, wherever you may be. This is a Shut Your Mouth Lounge, episode 238. I am Pink Sparkle Puff. I'm flanked by Atty the Hero, and series regular Alex is absent this week.
Yeah,
And
he's all off to space.
off to space, yeah. It's questionable whether other people might barge in throughout the podcast. We'll see, but for now, just expect the two of us.
So, Pink,
And yeah.
is anything coming out on your channel?
Is there I don't think there is. I mean there might be, but I didn't record anything.
Ah,
Is there anything coming out on your channel?
well, no, because I spent the week working on the group channel.
All right. So what's coming out on the group channel?
So, this week, not even this week, fucking like 2 days ago, I uploaded 28 videos to the group channel.
Wow, what the
There's a
heck do we do?
there's a 15 video limit on how many videos you can upload at once on YouTube.
Oh,
Yeah,
the more you know.
but yeah, so uh I went through and since Spider-Man is finished, spoilers I guess for Spider-Man, the content has been recorded for it to finish.
This is true.
And it needed to be recorded for it to actually get to you. But anyway, so Spider-Man took me like I wagered, oh, it's gonna take me a day to edit it and then a day to export it, because exporting exporting unedited content takes longer. Technically, like it's a trade-off where if I edit things very hard, then there's less videos in the end to export, so the export there's not as much content to export, which means that it's a shorter time frame. But when I'm not editing stuff, it's just like, oh, so we recorded this game for 4 hours and one video is 15 minutes or so. So
Mm-hmm.
that's gonna make for like
Mm-hmm.
30 episodes. And since because of how my PC isn't set up for editing, or like basically most of the things that I use it for, exporting a 15-minute video takes 25 minutes.
Okay.
So yeah, Spider-Man is coming back.
It's back.
Look forward to him this week. And then also, Armello is going to continue this week. But as for the other stuff, we also have 2 series lined up, and because I recorded the pilot series sessions or whatever for two series, one with you and one with W, and I had access to both of them. And the funny here's the funniest part: the sessions, the same length,
Yeah,
like nearly exactly the same length. So, like I think 2 minutes apart.
that's funny.
So once Armello is out, we're gonna be doing a thing where I figured, like, I could have just dumped all of the episodes for one series and then all of the episodes for the next, but I figured it would be nicer to have an A B kind of B week. So we'll just have a thing of like the first episode of one series is gonna come out next week, and then the first part of the other series is gonna come out the week after, and then we'll just alternate like this until we run out of content
Ah,
for them.
yeah.
And with how we have shit set up, unless I have to change the schedule, which fucking I hope to God I won't have to, because that's gonna be some work. But with how shit is set up, Spider-Man is like the second to last video coming out this year, and
Hmm.
we have videos set up until September. Not September. Fucking November, I think, maybe. It's either September or November, I forget.
Nice.
So yeah, that's that's been that's why I uploaded 28 videos. And let
I
me tell
like
you,
it.
it's one thing to sit around doing fuck all, waiting for videos to upload. It's another thing to sit around doing fuck all, full well knowing that you're gonna have to watch all of those videos to be able to figure out titles for them.
Yeah.
And if any of the videos going forward just have shitty titles, you know why. But anyway, so yeah, Pink, what did you do this week?
Let's see. What did I do? So, I Overwatch has what's it called? They've How do I phrase this? That's what I'm really trying to struggle with. They have begun rolling out beta keys, quote unquote, to everyone who signed up to test their beta, which I did. And obviously, since they're rolling out all the keys, I stayed up to way too late and woke up way too late. That's why I'm slurring over my words and trying to make a coherent sentence, and it's failing. You can tell.
Sentence.
Sentence.
You're making
Okay.
coherent sentience.
Yes. Coherent sentience. Yes. I got a beta key for the Overwatch beta, and I got it a day before they announced that they were going to start rolling out keys, so I'm going to pretend I'm special. But
Yeah,
I played a lot of that. A lot of Overwatch 2, the beta. Copyright, trademark, do not steal. It's been very fun. I've not had a lot of time to play all the characters. I've mostly been going back to my old favorites. And I really like the way it feels. I was very skeptical of taking the team member limit down to 5 from 6, but it's not too noticeable. It actually feels I don't know. It feels like each role has been buffed and has more to offer in their in their corresponding roles now that there's less possible variations. So it feels like tanks are tankier, the healers are healier, and the damage is full blown damage. Nothing feels like a hybrid anymore. We used to have like guys like May, McCree, etc., where or Soldier kind of falls into the hybrid as well,
I'd
where
say
May
Zenny does
was
too.
yeah, Zenny very much so. He still kind of is honestly, but yeah. So May used to be like a hybrid between a damage and a tank, and now the tanks are so much tankier than they used to be that it doesn't feel like she is. She's like kind of still a hybrid. She's still got those defensive capabilities, but it doesn't feel like, oh, she's a viable replacement for any tank on the team, because that's not really the case unless you're super good with her and her defensive capabilities, and the opposing team is super bad and doesn't have a lot of offense. Everything feels like more concise, more definitive, and I really enjoyed it. It's kind of got the inverse of Paladins right now, where in Paladins, when we were playing that, it felt like I spawn in, walk out into the battlefield, and get shot down immediately and have no idea what's going on. With Overwatch 2, I don't know if they adjusted the damage output or the health percentages or what, but it feels like everybody is still fairly bullet spongy. So you've got a lot more time to react to what's going on rather than walking out onto the battlefield and getting insta headshotted to death. I mean, that can still happen sometimes, but a lot less frequently because only the characters with the lowest amount of health, which would be the healers and maybe some offensive characters like the Tracers and the Genjis, I believe they've got the lowest health pools, but those guys can get headshot and one hit KO'd pretty quickly, but literally everyone else, they feel a lot more sturdy and tankier than usual. So I really enjoyed it. It makes it feel like all your actions have consequences and that you've always kind of got that fighting chance rather than just walking out and getting slaughtered immediately. It's less of a grind on your soul when you're dying because you were actually able to get some hits in before biting the bullet. So I really liked whatever they did. If they did anything different, maybe it's just been a long time since I played Overwatch. But to me, it felt like everyone has a certain amount of tankiness to a point where it feels like even if you're getting completely stomped, you're still able to play and enjoy the game. Um, they've introduced two new characters, I think, with this beta as well, which would be Sojourn, who is rumored to be coming out for like several years now, and is finally here because she was intended to be released alongside Overwatch 2. And that was, a long time ago before they got bought out by Microsoft or whatever. That was supposed to be the last character, but now the Overwatch team has gone ahead and said, yeah, there's more characters coming out, and with our transition from loot boxes to battle asses now, they're gonna try to get more characters out like on a 3 or 6 month basis. It's not super regular, but it's more with more regularity than we were previously getting, and more than we were expecting to get a couple years ago. Because with Sojourn, that was supposed to be it. They were very adamant that yeah, that's the last hero. Nobody else is getting added. There's just no way we can keep adding more. Then Microsoft bought them and said, "Hey, make more." They said, "Okay, we'll make more."
But Microsoft
So now
didn't
you
buy them
got
yet. That's the thing.
yeah, it's not finalized, but isn't it more or less inevitable?
It depends, because apparently, I don't remember who. I think it might be like current Activision shareholders or someone is trying to raise us think about how Microsoft is trying to monopolize everything, even though Sony is also buying
Ah,
up everything. And there's also
ah,
that group that THQ Nordic is in. So
right, right.
they're like, no, Microsoft is doing a monopoly on video games. Us, they're all three people doing the same thing. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
also, fuck Activision. Just like,
Very true.
well, I say that fuck both halves of the equation. Like, I used to play WoW, and I didn't need all of this to tell you fuck Activision. It's just like more apparent that they're shitheads now, you know.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, no, not to mention, did you hear about this? So apparently, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4, the remakes, very in development, and Tony Hawk was looking forward to them, and then he found out that the people working on them were sent to the coal mines.
I think I did hear something about that. Yeah.
And that's sad and funny at the same time. Because I wish, I forget, I don't think it was Toys for Bob, but they also deserve better. But like they, it's surreal. Is the best way I can put it. It's like the time when a guy, one of the writers for the Sonic comics, the Sonic Boom comics, he found out that his comic line was cancelled through another company announcing that they acquired the rights. And they just posted a tweet like this comic series is gonna be cancelled, but don't worry because we're gonna continue it because we bought the rights. And then he just replied, "News to me."
Mm-hmm. Yep, that happens a lot nowadays.
But yeah, anyway, fucking murder Hong Kong civilians simulator 2.
Yeah, yeah, that game. I really enjoyed it. I I've not really tinkered around with the two new characters. I've only experienced fights against them. Sojourn looks to be a lot of fun. She's got a big ass area of effect kind of ability that damages people over time, and that's a pain in the butt to go against.
Is it like
The Junker
Sylvanas?
Queen, yeah, kind of. The Junker Queen that they added is a very beefy tank, and I'm really not sure what her abilities are because I've not delved into videos. I've not played as her. I've only seen her in action when she was facing off against my team or maybe as a teammate. I don't remember. But whereas everybody else kind of has abilities that, you can visually see and understand, a diva flies by,
Yeah.
pulls up her defense matrix. Those are all very easy to decipher with visuals. With Junker Queen, it's like she like is maybe kind of a melee character, is maybe kind of a average shooter character. It's weird because she'll like alternate sometimes. I could swear that she's shooting you at one point, and then she'll whip out her little hammer or whatever and fly like Thor into the battlegrounds. And I'm like, what is going on? It's a character that visually I can't understand yet. I'll probably understand more and be able to decipher it once I actually play as her, or the more I play against her, I'll be understanding her abilities. But for right now, it's just a big tank that runs around doing stuff and then either kills me or dies. And I haven't really figured out what's all going on. I haven't figured out what's the tell of what her abilities are or when the ultimate is active. I I'm completely lost when it comes to that character. But the Sojourn uh is the opposite of that, where she feels very classic in a way, in that all her abilities, all her gadgets, etc., they're all very easy to understand and easy to comprehend what the counterplay needs to be, or how you're getting outplayed as her or against her, and what things you need to do differently, or how you need to place yourself order to avoid her attacks and whatnot. So I really like Sojourn as a character and a gameplay element. I'm not completely sold on the Junker Queen, but that will probably change with time. And um, I briefly touched on it. They lowered the teammate count from 6 to 5, and in doing that, they also gave tanks, offense, and supports their own passive abilities, just class wide, not character wide, class
Oh,
wide. So yeah, I would have liked to see more passives with the characters, but there are already a few characters that have passives, so I'm willing to let it slide that they can't force a passive onto everybody. But the tanks, they obviously take less damage, and the it used to be, at least in Overwatch 1 for the longest time, it used to be that healers and damaged characters were able to make a massive amount of charge, ultimate charge, based off of doing damage to tanks and or healing the tanks. So like if you were playing as a Mercy and you were able to hit a healing beam on the Reinhardt who is at 1 health, and then you boost him all the way up to the 10,000 or whatever absurd number he has, that would almost guarantee you like 75% of your ultimate charge from 0 to 75%. But the way that their passive ability works now is that you can't really quote unquote farm ultimate charge off the tanks, because the the damage that the offensive or the damage heroes are doing to the tanks, it gives them less ultimate charge than normal. So it's like you're not able to farm the ultimate charge, but you're not making significantly less. That it's not, you're making the same amount of ult charge killing a tank as you are killing a non-tank. So there's nothing special about downing the tanks or anything. It's
yeah.
just your average ult charge, and it's not absurdly balanced to a point where you can just target the tank all game and just get your ult off in a matter of seconds, which I thought was a great change, because it used to be, and there have been several metas where it's everybody's a healer and everybody's a tank, because those are the guys that you can get the most ult charge off of, and then it just becomes a war of attrition where healers are always popping off their ults and tanks are always popping off their ults, and nobody's really dying because they're all too tanky and beefy and getting healed non-stop. I wish somebody would go take care of Bowie for me, but that's probably not going to happen. um Hang on 1 second.
All right. So, while Pink is gone, I don't know. We didn't really account for this. I could just pause the recording, but that would be disingenuous, and also you'd miss him coming back. We can't have that now, can we? It also it also inflates the runtime, which obviously we are just so fucking invested in. But yeah, And we're back.
And we're back. So when last I left off, I was talking about the passives in the classes in Overwatch 2, and I had more or less summed up the tank role, except for the added benefit of they don't have significant knockback on any of the attacks they take that would traditionally knock the heroes back a significant way. Like, for example, Brigida's Shield Bash or Lucio's secondary fire, the boop thing, where you're
Yeah.
able to knock people off the sides of buildings and whatnot. So tanks really don't get affected by any knockback now, and what little they do experience is kind of negligible. So it's nice. It makes you feel tanky. It makes you feel like you're the big machine that you're supposed to be. That doesn't
Yeah.
have to worry about
Yeah.
being booped down a hole or anything.
Yeah, although I kind of hope that they have like an oversight that they're not gonna fix, where Diva outside of the mech all still can be booped. She's a fucking unit.
Yeah. And then moving on to the damage class, they've actually got the least cool one of the entire lot, but it's good for what it is, and what that is when you've acquired 30% of your ultimate charge, you can safely, without losing that ultimate charge, swap to any other damage class. So you don't have the perils of needing to stick with whatever character you've chosen throughout the entire game until you've acquired your full ult charge and use the ult. You're always going to have 30% of your ult charge no matter what damage character you swap to. So that's a nice little feature. It's not super game changing, but it's nice to not have to be kind of walking on eggshells of, well, I'm doing kind of bad as Pharah, but my ult is at 45%, and if I swap to somebody else, it will go down to 0%, and I guess I should just stick it out until I get the ult. Now it's, well, I've got 45% of my ult. I'm only going to lose 15% if I swap to somebody else, so let me just bite the bullet. I'll be able to work back whatever I've lost shortly, hopefully, because whatever character I'm swapping to, hopefully it's a more optimal character for the job at hand. So that's a nice quality of life feature. I really liked it.
I don't know,
I
like
don't, I,
yeah,
I don't think
someone.
the
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't think the charge is significant enough to kind of make it seem all that special when compared to the tanks and the supports, but it's nice enough. It's a nice enough boost that it doesn't feel like you're starting at ground one or level one again.
I don't know, cause like man, I don't have as much experience with Overwatch as you do, but as someone who who's a Junkrat main who never got to play Junkrat pretty much. Let me tell you, if I'm switching off of damage, then I'm not switching on to someone else who is also in damage.
Yeah, that's what I didn't like. Yeah, I kind of feel your same sentiments there. Because it's like, if you're struggling in the damage role, I mean, granted, there are definitely some characters that are better in certain situations. Like, it's understandable if you're sucking hard with Pharah because they've got a hard counter for any flying characters, then you'd want to swap to somebody else. But for the most part in Overwatch, it's if you're sucking in your role so bad that you feel the need to swap characters to somebody else, oftentimes you'll want to swap with somebody else, exchange roles with somebody else on the team. So it's like, if I could swap from a damage class to a support class and retain that 30% ult charge, that would be very nice. That would be lovely. But that's not how it works. And I feel like that's kind of an oversight because, you know, for the most part, outside of competitive, usually, and I don't know if it's changed recently, but usually the quick play isn't locking rolls down. There's their competitive mode. There's the normal quick play mode, which I think does limit your roster picks to two from each side. I don't know how that affects Overwatch 2 because there's only 5 characters or 5 teammates, but we'll see. And then there's the classic quick play, which was just choose any character from any role. It doesn't matter. Make your own team comp, make it work.
Yeah, and that's the thing I was going to bring up is that like last time I played was before they made the adjustment to quick play, but also like usually when I switched, it wasn't even because I'm sucking. It's because the other two guys who were supposed to be tank and healer just decided that
Yep,
we needed a soldier and a McCree.
yep, yep. Everybody wants to play damage, so
Yeah,
yeah,
so
yep.
now I have to switch to Zenyatta because I also don't want to play hero, but I have to. And if I
Uh
have to
huh.
suffer, then so do they.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So the support class passive is just they gave them the mercy passive from Overwatch 1, where all the supports now heal passively over time, which I think was a substantial quality of life improvement because there are so many support characters that don't have regenerative health. I think it was just Mercy, Lucio, that's his ability, and Zenyatta, who doesn't really have a passive health regen. It's just that 75% of his 100 health is shields, so those do regenerate over time, but his health pool actually didn't. So the health regen passive, I think that was probably the biggest, most positive change from the passives they've given us. The take ones are very good. The support ones are fantastic. The damage, it's a nice little bonus, but not much else. Um, I would like to say in all my time playing Zenyatta in the Overwatch 2 beta, I don't know if this was in a previous patch for Overwatch 1, but the Orb of Discord and Orb of Harmony or whatever it was called, those feel much slower to discharge than they did previously. Because it used to be you could be shooting your balls at people like
Die
lightning.
constantly. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you could also throw out your Discord orb onto the opponents that you're shooting at the same time. Now there's a significant delay where it's you shoot your ball, you take your second and a half to throw the Discord orb out, and then you go back to shooting your ball. It used to be you're shooting your balls and also throwing the orb of Discord out, and you like didn't notice it, didn't notice the feel of it like at
Yeah,
all. It's
yeah,
just
and
you're
even
passively
then
making
you
them take
died.
more damage. Yeah, yeah, uh huh.
Like
But
even though you were dealing damage constantly, you just died
yes, yes, that
and
is
did
true.
nothing pretty much.
Yep, yep. Zenny's a fun character with a very small health pool, so yeah, he dies constantly
I mean,
to
that's not only
the
that, but like
slightest gust of wind.
not only that, but Zenyatta was, in my opinion, one of the ones hit hardest by them nerfing the fuck out of healing characters because like Mercy is Mercy and Lucio is Lucio. I assume Zenyatta barely healed at all ever, and then they just nerfed that like tenfold by the
Yep,
time I actually
yep.
got to play him.
Zenyatta was always more of a damage character with the ability to provide some health regen, modest health regen, because he never really healed at the rate of literally any other character in the support classes, not named Symmetra, who doesn't heal at all.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I remember that was this one time that I carried like I was the sole healer of Zenyatta on a team and we won because of what you just said. It was a thing where like we had a good teamwork and I just kept orbs of harmony on everyone pretty much. Like the orb of harmony cooldown, if it has one, I fucking forget. But like if that refilled, then I would just immediately fucking fling to another person, throw it on them until it disappeared again,
yep,
and then just
yep,
basically just made the whole screen balls.
yeah. That's Zenyatta for you. The whole screen is balls. That is very true.
Sounds like my Saturday night for me. Anyway, uh, so
um, I think that probably wraps up all my Overwatch 2 thoughts and discussions for the beta.
all right,
Because yeah, that covers all the bases of everything I found as I was playing through it. I do intend to play through it more this upcoming weekend, because I've been having a lot of fun with it. It's a very, very solid foundational game. I enjoyed my time with it. And what else? I don't think I did anything else because I played a lot of Dead by Daylight with Mike and Alex and Clown were in the call as well. We were actually up all night last night in Discord, and that's why it was up so late. And then Dog wakes up at normal time, so he doesn't take into account that I was up till like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
So I got like 4 or 5 hours of sleep, maybe. So yeah, that's partly the reason of my absence at the start of the day when I didn't realize it was Saturday.
Yeah, it's fine. Like it's
All right.
understandable.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess I'll wrap it up there. I didn't do anything really other than Overwatch 2 and the Dead by Daylight with all the Discord boys.
Yeah. Then I guess I'll move on with my week. So I beat Mafia 1 Remastered or whatever definitive edition. It's not a remaster, that's a remake, Eddie. Shit. Anyway, so yeah, Mafia 1 definitive edition is a remake of the old PS2 game. I think it was on the PS2, the first one. And it's the Mafia is a series that's very peculiar about its open world.
Oh, so
Well, Mafia 1 is an open world game where you can free roam.
well, that's a choice.
Mafia 2, but you can free roam, but you need to beat the story to unlock freedom. Uh, Mafia 2 is a game where there's parts where the game gives you vague objectives, and that's basically your cue to free roam.
I see.
And then Mafia 3 is an actual open world game, like completely. It's the worst one in the series.
Yeah.
So let's go through the list, I guess. So Mafia 1 definitely edition. They took the improvements of Mafia 3, like the mechanical improvements that it made over 2, and then just put that shit into the first game with its design stuff, and it works out. Mafia 1 Definitive Edition is probably the best game in the series because the story is pretty good considering it's just a PS2 game remade again,
Yeah.
and people already like the original PS2 game. So yeah, it's good on that part. Once again, it's a bit of it's a choice to have a freedom game or have an open world game where you can free roam, but I'm
Hmm.
fine with it. Like it's I just thought of the game as a narrative driven game, which it is,
Yeah.
and that was cool. The gameplay is actually fun. Like it's once again, it's a thing of like there are parts of Mafia 3 that aren't shit. It's just overshadowed by the pile of shit that's right at the window. So like the basic foundation of the gameplay in Mafia 3 is actually good, and the guns feel fine and stuff like that. But I'll get to Mafia 3. I didn't even play it this week, but I guess I'll just get to it so you have a point of comparison. Actually, you know what? Let's just hit that real quick because the other thing might veer off. So,
All right.
Mafia 3, well, the closest point of comparison for me as far as game design goes is Assassin's Creed 1 for Mafia 3. But you didn't play Assassin's Creed 1, I don't think. So,
No.
let's see how I can put it easily into words. So, in Mafia 3, you collect items. You collect items to go into Ubisoft towers, to go into Borgia towers, and
Okay.
to sync with the Borgia towers, you need to spend 3 of those items, not 1, 3 of those items, to unlock the Borgia tower. And once you unlock the Borgia tower, you unlock 5 missions. There are 18 burrows or so in the game. It's not 18, I don't think, but there's like a ridiculous amount of burrows in the game. There are
Mm.
there are 5 missions. The same 5 missions repeated throughout all of the boroughs. Sometimes twice in the same
I
one.
see.
And that's why Mafia 3 sucks. Cause like
Yeah.
in Assassin's Creed 1, that's the closest point of comparison. But in Assassin's Creed 1, you need a parkour puzzle to do the tower, which is a bit more engaging than just, fucking go around getting these items and then you just go up to the thing and then get it. But also, in Assassin's Creed 1, you unlocked 5 missions per assassination, and you needed to do 3, and then you did the assassination. And that game was fucking. That game is infamous for being repetitive. Mafia 3 is worse.
Mm. That's impressive.
Because in Mafia 3, you unlock 5 missions, you need to do all 5 of them. Like, no, you don't need to do all 5 of them. There's a, I fucking forget, but I think there's like a certain amount of money that you need to reach to unlock the mission. But still, it's a thing called like, hey, here's 10 missions. It's actually just 5 missions copy pasted twice. Do like 7, and then you can fight the guy that you're here to fight.
Cool.
Yeah, and imagine that through like 8 boroughs. So times that by 8.
Oof.
Yeah. So yeah, that's Mafia 3. But as for Mafia 2, because I also beat that. Now Mafia 2 was my introduction to the series. It's I really like that game. I think one is better now than with the definitive edition because Mafia 2 is, of its time. It came out in 2010. You can feel it. But
Yeah.
Mafia 2 also got a definitive edition, and here's what they did. So Mafia 2 is a game of its time. There's junk to it, but whatever. It came out in 2010. So Mafia 2 Definitive Edition adds the DLC. Also,
Mm.
also breaks the coding.
How so?
Well, for the longest time there was a bug where this was around release and I think it's fixed now. But there was a bug where there would be no audio unless you went into a cutscene where the audio would blow your eardrums out, and then it would just once the cutscene is over, it would just drone or something like that. I forget, and then eventually it would crash. Now that bug was fixed, but there are new bugs that I never fucking saw in the original game, so I think it was introduced in the definitive edition, quote unquote. Such
Yeah.
as if a cutscene uses a licensed piece of music, or like a stinger from it, then that licensed piece of music will play until you turn on the radio constantly.
Well, that's interesting.
And that was the best one. That was the best bug. Otherwise, I saw the fucking enemies falling apart a couple of times, cause
Yeah.
buildings would just forget to load that. Well, not even forget to load their textures. If I went too fast, then a building would have their their like low quality texture, the far away texture, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
the model would seemingly like half phase out of existence in a way that I don't even know how to properly describe it, but the model turned pink, and then eventually
Oh, that's impressive.
yeah, and then eventually it would load in the high quality textures. But it's like it happened enough that I noticed it multiple times. But also, like it's really like there are games where you play them like Fallout New Vegas or most of Bethesda's catalog actually, where
Yeah.
you look at them and you go, this game is held together with duct tape.
Yeah.
So Mafia 2 Definitive Edition is held together with soggy duct tape. Like not even
Not even high quality duct tape. Just soggy secondhand brand
no,
duct tape.
not even just the second hand. Like it's like they purposefully vetted the adhesive side of the duct tape so it wouldn't stick. They just made like a shitty like a rope from it that doesn't even hold. Like it's barely tied. The game crashed on me 5 times. I couldn't
Oh
even
my.
I couldn't finish the game. I had a bug where one of the later missions in the game is starts with you having to race the clock, and then you have to drive to this door. You have to break the door with your car. The door became unbreakable. And
uh,
and the thing is, there is no like there's a checkpoint at the start of the mission, and there's a checkpoint after you break the door. So I had to do the drive 5 times, and the door never broke.
that is impressive.
And it's just like Mafia 2 was a very good experience. Like I really liked it a lot because it was a very narrative driven thing once again. And I like the story it was trying to tell. Now I've realized after playing one that Mafia 2 was just literally one again, but with the guy who shot the guy from the first game, which kind of devalues it. But
Yeah.
but still, I wanted to play through it again because I liked the game, and I had to uninstall it because it would just keep crashing, or it would fucking not load or whatever, or the bug that made it so I can't progress at all. And like the worst bug I got in the other game's definitive edition was that I got the camera stuck out of bounds for a bit for one animation, which somehow rendered my character stuck in geometry. Because Revengeance is powerful.
Nice.
So yeah, that's for Mafia. Then I also beat Saints Row 2.
Oh, good deal.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, I can understand why people say that Saints Row 2 is the best one. But there are certainly things that I appreciate about the later games more now that I've played it. Especially that the fucking missions don't like. So Pink, how in some games you have quote unquote optional content that is actually necessary for you to progress, and how I keep bitching about it in new Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Saints Row 2, that's how mission structure is. There's a bar. There's a bar that you have to fill to be able to do story missions. And to fill the bar, you need to do the side missions or just kill people, kill gang members.
I see.
And it's a design decision that is of its time. But just because something is of its time doesn't mean that it's not shit.
Very true.
And that's the thing with like going back to Mafia too. Like I acknowledge that it's of its time, and some of the jank is just because it's aged and people got better at conveying stuff in video games. That doesn't mean that stuff those parts of that game doesn't suck. Similarly, in
Mhm.
this one, having to spend time on activities that I don't want to do, so I can actually do the stuff that I may want to do, isn't good game design, in my opinion.
Not really.
Especially when the side content is like escort missions, literally. Fucking turret segments.
Oh, joy.
Yeah. And like there's a fight club, and the combat mechanic is a lot more like has a lot more depth than the later games combat mechanics, but it doesn't mean it's necessarily good. Like it's
Eh.
it's better, most certainly it's better, but it's it's still like you can still feel the Saints Row in it. And like Saints Row as a series to me is just defined by things feeling off, like not bad, not significantly bad, just like off and off that you notice.
Yeah.
Have you played Saints Row, Pink?
I played the fourth one.
All right, would you agree that the shooting in Saints Row feels stilted?
Yes.
And that's pretty much the whole game, isn't it?
Yeah, just about.
And yeah, that's just the whole series. Saints Row 2 felt just as stilted. I mean, like, some of the stiltedness is obviously up to how I played it, which is through the new PS Plus, which means that I was streaming it, so there would be uh some input delay and stuff like that. But even accounting for that, there's things that you feel, and like I played through Saints Row 3, the remaster of it recently, and I noticed the same problems with both games. Which doesn't mean that Saints Row 2 is bad. It just means that they didn't fucking fix it for the next two games. But yeah, uh, what else can I really say about Saints Row 2? Once again, I agree that it may be the best one in the series just because of how, like, overall the stuff, like, it's a good package.
Yeah.
But also, like, it's like, whenever, like, I want to praise Saints Row 2 for being good, but when I think about Saints, like, when I measure Saints Row 2, I don't measure Saints Row 2 as a game. I measure Saints Row 2 as a Saints Row game. So, like, so it's a thing of, like, Saints Row 2 is really good for Saints Row. I don't expect a lot from Saints Row.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, if you have to choose to play one Saints Row game, then probably play 2, and then also, like, keep in mind that this game came out, like, I don't know when Saints Row 2 actually came out, but the game is old enough that it still has you buy music in like, physically in stores. So
Yeah.
the game is probably a bit old.
Probably.
Not to mention that everyone was using flip phones, and I'm like, man, this doesn't feel weird. What's wrong? But yeah, anyway. I guess here's a game that I can talk about that you would be you might have some opinions on. Like, I played a couple of fighting games, but I don't try to, or in the past two weeks, but I don't try to try not to bring them up on this podcast because, whatever, you don't really have a vested interest in most of them.
Right.
But I also played Soul Calibur 6.
Oh,
That game is
that game is. That is for sure.
like, it's a thing of, like, it's, how do I put it? Like, the game is not the highest of budget, and you can tell. It's a thing of, like, well, yeah, I understand the some of the things had to be cut that you would associate with Soul Calibur to accommodate the smaller budget, but at the same time, it's not really Soul Calibur without those things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, playing through the story mode, like, I tried to play through story mode, it didn't grab me, and that was the first sign that something is off. But also, like, playing through the story mode, it's a very different experience to go between, the here's the map, and your character, there's this thing showing where your character is on the map, and then while the level loads, we give you a lot of exposition with a picture of the map, and then you load in, and we may give you more exposition with cutscenes and shit. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
in this game, they opted for visual novel style cutscenes, which is really good for budget, but it's not really engaging. And also, like, it's a thing of, like, if they handled it more like they did in Soul Calibur 3, where once again, as you're loading into the level, you get this blurb that you can read or you can choose to ignore, and it doesn't really do a whole lot, and then you just have stuff happening. Like, I think that would have worked better, because as it is, the actual story mode of the game is just kind of boring to someone who isn't already heavily invested in all of the 15 different universes and continuities of Soul Calibur.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so here's a cutscene of Killick's, like, basically just Killick's origin story, and we're gonna tell you what's up with Killick through, like, character interactions with people who aren't in the game, And this cutscene goes on for 5 minutes, and it's visual
Oof.
novel style.
Oof.
And it's not even like a high quality visual novel where they have like, you know, the key art for stuff happening as they play that with sounds and stuff like that. No, it's literally just the fucking character portrait that we made as advertisement and also for the game as a game asset. Take that, put it into a box. Okay, make similar portrait for character who's not in the game, but you know, like on lesser budget. Okay, put that in a box. Okay, put text in box,
Yes.
and then that's it. Like no like from what I remember, no like real emotion changes or whatever. No action like still frames. Nothing. Literally just a picture of a building in the background as a JPEG of Killick talks to a JPEG of a head of a woman. And
Yeah.
this goes on for 5 minutes.
Oh no.
Also, if the game could get any worse, Get Out Oblivio is in it.
Oh yeah, that guy. I love. I'm blanking on his name.
I love Twitcher.
Superman.
That's his name, right? Twitcher.
Henry Cavill.
Yeah,
Twitcher. Yeah, Twitcher.
yeah. He's always in chat. But yeah, anyway. Like I tried like the gameplay part of Soul Calibur 6 is Soul Calibur. Like, you know, it's some Soul Calibur Soul Calibur. I don't know where I was going with this sentence. Anyway, like it mostly feels what you'd expect from Soul Calibur. Like, you know, it does. There's also the caveat there though of it's not all Soul Calibur. It's new Calibur. It's Soul Calibur
Yeah.
5, not Soul Calibur 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, it's just a thing of like, but you know, I wasn't the biggest fan of the gameplay of the newer Soul Calibur games, but I was like, hey, Ezio's in 5. That's pretty much it. That's the only reason I played 5. And the story, like the way it's presented, wasn't the most interesting, and like there was some stuff for establishing, actually, for establishing like the world. They put more budget into that. It's still not like a lot more than you know the still frames that I was talking about, but
Yeah.
it's something. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But basically, it's like Soul Calibur 6 as a single player, or as a person who plays fighting games single player most of the time, is very disappointing because you go to Soul Calibur for single player content and like they technically have the RPG mode and they technically have a story mode that's like not just the shitty fucking Mortal Kombat story mode. But unless you're already invested in the world somewhat, or you're just really fucking looking to play, like if you're really just like you're like I can't play any game, I need to play a fighting game, and I want to play the story mode of a fighting game, and I want it to be alright. Like unless you're in that position, I don't think Soul Calibur 6 is that great. Like I was going to say maybe it's better than online. No, because the fucking netcode sucks, and that's why Soul Calibur is dead.
Yeah.
Like that's not even me making a thing of like, oh fucking this one disappointing, so Soul Calibur is dead. No, the director for this game before release came out and said if this game doesn't sell well, Soul Calibur is dead. So I'm pretty sure Soul Calibur is dead.
Soul Calibur's dead. R.I.P. It had a life.
Yeah. Maybe once enough people fucking like sign a petition or something, Bemco will just re-release 2 and 3 again.
Yeah. With Link.
Actually, I was going to say, yeah, they can do 2. Maybe they released 3 because I don't think there was a licensed character in that one.
I don't think there was.
So yeah, maybe we'll see Soul Calibur 3 again. Like the rest of Soul Calibur is stuck in the same limbo that Tekken 3 is, where Tekken 3 cannot be republished on newer consoles because Gun is in it.
Who?
Gun, small dinosaur that eats people.
I've never heard of him.
Gon. It's a manga character.
Ah,
But yeah, they had this small falling dinosaur in Tekken 3 as a crossover thing back in like '95, and yeah, that's the reason that Tekken 3 is not on PS Plus.
I see.
Actually even better. That's the reason Tekken 2 is on PS Plus because they couldn't give you the game you wanted, but here have the one that came before it, I guess.
Nah.
Anyway, I also played. I bowed out to check my list on the site. I also played Agatha Christie's ABC Murders.
What is that?
It's a point and click murder mystery game.
Interesting.
Now, here's the thing that I'm pretty sure I brought up multiple times before. I like murder mystery stories and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I was thinking about downloading or not downloading, streaming 7 Max because they have one of the games on PS Plus or one of the PS3 games, and I was like, man, I kind of feel like playing a point and click adventure game. And I downloaded Agatha Christie, just going, hey, I like crime games, so I'll probably like this. Like I really like the Sherlock Holmes games that I'm forgetting their name. It wasn't. I don't think it was Frogwares. I think they. No, it is. I think it's Frogwares, the developer. So yeah, yeah. I like those. I like those Sherlock Holmes games as well. So Agatha Christie isn't that Agatha Christie stuff is not that far away from Sherlock Holmes. I might like
Yeah.
this. Turns
Yeah.
out it's a point and click adventure game. So I won. But yeah, there's a lot of similarities between the two games. Between how Sherlock is structured and how uh Agatha Christie's ABC Murders is structured. I get stuck on the name because Sherlock is named after the character, and the ABC Murders is named after the author.
uh,
Because like I don't know how like knowledgeable about you are about the old like murder mystery character or like the old renowned murder mystery like detective people, but the guy that Agatha Christie wrote and who's usually counted among Sherlock himself is Hercule Poirot, and he's the protagonist of this game too.
uh,
And they gave him the most like I don't want to call the performance bad for the voice actor. It's just very particular. Like it's very grating, and I don't have enough knowledge about the actual Poirot books to know if that's supposed to be like a character trait that he's grading, but he's the way he says things is just very upsetting sometimes,
I see.
and that makes sense somewhat because like he's a French guy speaking English in Victorian England, so
Yeah.
but still, anyway, so yeah, I so far I'm I've done one case or done 1/3 of the case. I guess is the better way to put it. And so far it's fun. Like it's what you'd expect from a murder mystery point and click game. The thing I didn't expect is the dialogue choices, and they're actually kind of funny. At least the thoughts of them sometimes. Because if you don't pick the right dialogue choices, you get fucked out of information.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I had to interrogate this woman who runs a vegetable stand, and my option was like, ask about the case or ask about this part of the case, ask about that part of the case. Tell her that her wares are rotten. And I was like, well, I assumed, well, okay, so it's giving me all of these options, so I'm assuming it's just like like a dialogue tree, and I can go through all of them. So I tell her that the fruit is rotten. And we spent the next like half a minute arguing back and forth, and with her telling me to fuck off at the end. And I got no information. Thankfully, I found enough clues to basically blackmail her into giving me information, but still. That like I enjoy that. I like that if you choose to be an asshole, you can choose to be an asshole, but if you choose to be an asshole, people will not work with you. And like one of the things about these games, both these games and the Sherlock Holmes games, is that like I wish there were more games like these. I wish there were more just murder mystery games. I mean, like it's a bias that I have because I like that genre, of fiction just in general. But still, like you don't really see games that are like this unless it's like find or like spot the difference games for like grandmas.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so far this game has been fun. I didn't play a whole lot of it because I literally started like I finished Saints Row 2 today, and then spent like maybe 20 minutes an hour on a couple of games after that, and then I got ready for the podcast.
I see.
But yeah, then I also played something I can't read. Give me a sec. What the fuck did I
Eh.
write? Oh yeah, Damascus Gear. So
What is that?
Damascus Gear is a PS Vita, originally a PS Vita game that got remastered for PS4, and it's a I don't even know what the fuck to call it. Like it's a Diablo like, I guess, but with less loot.
Okay.
And also mechs.
I enjoy a good mech.
And the game is since it's a Diablo like, the game is mostly centered around you kill enemy mechs, you take their arm, and then you attach your arm into their arm, and now their arm is yours.
Nice.
And it has a mission structure. It's you can tell it's a PS Vita game. Like immediately you can tell it's a PS Vita game. And that's a thing that was I think the second game I played through out of all of these in the short amount of time, and I figured, hey, playing this game in small bursts actually kind of works because that's what it was designed for. Like they don't expect you,
Funny.
like they don't expect you to play through the game in one sitting, or do something similar like play it for multiple hours, because it's for the PS Vita.
Yeah.
But there are some quirks with games that were originally on handhelds, and they were like, well, you won't play through all of this in one sitting, or like in long sessions. And
Yeah.
that just means that people tend to say everything twice. Now, I'm not actually talking about this game. I'm talking about another game that does this. I haven't noticed it too much in this game yet, but I'm sure it will come up eventually. Like in this game, it just seems to be the thing of like they they like exposition a lot, and also um everyone is awkward, kind of like there's four characters that speak so far, and all of them are awkward in one way or the other.
uh,
I also like pretending that it's a Metal Gear game, both because Metal Gear's whole thing is how mechs will ruin humanity, and this game's setup is mechs have ruined humanity.
Nice.
But also there's a character who refers to himself as Colonel, so everything just kind of falls into place. But yeah, one thing that I liked about this game setup, and it's a very like small detail that you'd expect from a game like this, but still, I've seen games that don't do this, so I want to point out. I appreciate that you have both melee and long range weapons, and you can choose which ones you want to use in like setting up your mech.
Ah.
Like if you rip a sword arm off of a mech, you can use his sword arm instead of your whatever arm. But
Oh.
if you steal a gun that's also someone's hand, you can also use that gun. Now you do have to choose between. You only have two weapons to choose between to have on you at all times. But still, that sentence didn't make sense. So you can only choose two weapons to be with you at all times. But that makes sense because the mechs are humanoid, and humans don't tend to have 5 arms
Yeah,
usually.
usually.
So yeah, it's I enjoyed it. Damascus Gear. Like I will go back to it like periodically just to get a couple of missions in and then just do other stuff probably because that's how the game was designed. That's how I get the most fun out of it. But yeah, and the last game I played this week is Patapon.
Okay.
So have you heard of Patapon, Pink?
It sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't know.
So Patapon, I believe, was for the original PSP, and it's a rhythm game where you control army through drums. I said that real weird,
Okay.
but yeah, it's a game where you control an army through drums. Drums. I can't say drums. I guess. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what the title refers to. Patapon and or the first two sounds on the drum that you unlock,
Ah.
and how you control this army is through a series of alternating rhythms. So telling them to go forward is one button and then the other, but telling them to attack is another combination, and you have to remember these. So that's gonna
Oh.
be interesting. But yeah, um, I have a small gripe with the game. Like most rhythm games, uh, in most rhythm games, the whole thing is that here's a song that we made, and then you can just pick up on the rhythm and do stuff on it. Like most rhythm games that I've played work like that. In Guitar Hero, you press the buttons to the rhythm. I guess. I mean, it depends on the song, but whatever. Fuck it. You press the buttons to the rhythm to emulate making the sounds yourself. In
Yeah.
um in Songbird Symphony, it's half that and half listening to the rhythm of it depends. In boss fights it's that. In normal just travels and puzzles, you have to listen to the backing track's rhythm so that you can do your notes on rhythm to do the puzzles with. In Red Dead, all of your button presses have to be on rhythm for them to be good. That game is
Okay.
fucking fire. I wish I could actually buy it, but there's a problem with the PS Store and I can't.
Ah.
Patapon, on the contrary, though, is a game where music only happens if you do your button presses right. Now, this leads to a conundrum where if you're someone like me who is used to how most rhythm games work, then you're like, well, okay, I technically I can do shit on rhythm, and there is a rhythm indicator on the screen for what rhythm you're supposed to be using. But I usually do rhythm games by ear, and I don't really look at the rhythm indicator because I usually don't need it.
Okay.
Which leads to this thing where I fucking suck at Patapon, because
Eh.
there is no music for me to listen to the rhythm of, because I make the music that I'm supposed to be listening to. But which in turn means that I can't do music because it's off rhythm.
Oh no.
And not only that, but also since all of the commands seem to be in four beats, there is this thing that I like. It's not a big problem, but it's a small gripe, I guess, with the game, where if you mess up an input, then you need to wait a whole beat, or not a whole beat, a whole like measure, I guess that would be. I don't know music theory or musical stuff in general, so I'm just trying to use musical stuff to explain what my problem is. But if we define a measure as one click on the thing where you put 4 beats in a 1 1 1 4 time signature, then you would have to wait for a whole measure before you can try to input another command if you mess up the first one. And
Hmm.
that can also feel bad because while you're not doing stuff, the Petapon, who are also the characters, by the way, the Petapon just keep complaining. Oh, also, I forgot to say, like the whole setup of this game is that you're God, and God is playing the drums, which tells them to move. So yeah, think.
I
Oh no,
don't know
okay.
where to go from there.
I thought your internet cut out.
No, I was trying to comprehend all the information.
Yeah, that's fair. This- although I do find it kind of funny how that was your exact same response to when I explained Blaze Blue, and Blaze Blue's role is a lot more complicated than this shit.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that.
But yeah, uh, so let's see. I think did I draw anything? I feel like I did. You can tell it. You can tell it was a good drawing week when I go. Did I even draw anything? Oh, I did. I just
Oh boy.
remembered. I did. I'm having a problem with my hands, and I just suddenly remembered that the like the thing that made me remember what I drew was that I was in pain while making it.
Ha!
So, um, I guess one of the I guess we can reveal it because it who gives a fuck? No one watches these podcasts. But yeah, so as you know, the game that we played was Katamari,
Yes.
and I guess I'll put it on my thing and then just fucking link it because that seems faster because then you won't have to wait as much for the upload. So yeah, uh, we played Katamari and I thought about what the thumbnail could be, and we did bring up a couple of ideas while recording, but I also got an idea and I wanted to see how that would look, so I drew that, and here's the actual. Like, I don't know. Do you want me to send the proper art version of it, or do you want the thumbnail art version? Because I saved it as two separate things.
Oh, whichever one you want to send over is fine. I don't think I have a preference.
All right, I guess I'll put these logos because it's gonna get deleted probably
All
anyway.
right.
So yeah, that's the full art,
Uh,
and that's how it looks in thumbnails.
I love it.
So fun fact about this: I drew out the sketch layer for the Pink of Al Cosmos. Like with a normal body shape. I'm like, okay, so skinny, like as close as I can get to a skinny body shape with my current expertise at drawing. And I looked at
Right.
looked at reference images, and the king is ripped as fuck. So
He is.
so I had to redraw it. But yeah, so do you think this is better, or the idea that you had while recording? I also saved this, but I need to pull it up. Oh boy. There's I have too many folders. Yeah, your idea was that we make this the thumbnail.
I think that's a great image, but I like your thumbnail better. It's more eye-catching.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
You don't want to know how much fucking trouble I went through making that rainbow, by the way. Like
I
it's
believe it.
like the rainbow part wasn't even the hard part. Getting it look that way was the hard part, cause like I have a rainbow gradient on my drawing thing, but trying to make it so it's slightly curving to the side or whatever it's doing, while also making
Yeah.
making sure that the edges are crisp because that's how it is in game. Was fucking brutal.
Yeah.
And not to mention trying to make it look like it's coming out of your mouth.
You did a very good job with it, though. It's a very good thumbnail.
Thank you. By the way, if you
Yeah.
want, I still have the raw file saved. Oh, of course, I mean I made it this week. But if you want, and you have any, and you could have any use for it, I can just export you separately with the background.
Awesome. I
It,
don't think I'd have a use for it, but you
I mean,
never know.
it's a 4K image, so technically, if you fuck around with it enough, or if you want me to, I could. You could make it your banner on YouTube because YouTube wants you to upload 4K images for banners.
I should do that because I'm pretty sure I don't have any banners whatsoever on my channel.
So yeah, so that's the thing I drew, and then let's see the pictures. So this is the thing that I had to install recording for, but I think I thought you would enjoy it as well.
Oh, it's up here now. Luchaverse of Madness. Yes.
Yeah, I also like this. So yeah, I don't know if this is a wider art community thing or if this is just a furry thing, but a lot of times there's these trends where people just like post weird pieces of clothing or whatever, and they're like, draw your OC in this outfit, and
Hmm.
people take it up because it's an idea for drawing.
Yeah.
But I saw this and I thought it was very funny. Malicious compliance is the best. Oh yeah, also also this. Oh, is it not gonna work? Even though it's I don't think it's no. Okay, I'm gonna have to make it work then. It's fine.
It'll be fine.
Oh, oh, I see. The link doesn't work because the picture was deleted. I just have it cached so I can still see it.
Oh.
I can work around that. And just like that, we have the image.
Magic.
There you go.
That's terrible.
Isn't it?
Oh no.
Uh, and then let's see. I feel like that was another funny picture, but I guess this is we can transition into the topics if you want to hit those all like 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3. So first things first. EA announced a thing recently that EA is actually in 2 of the topics, but EA announced a thing recently, and it was a revelation to some people. So I guess here's a picture for it as a lead up, but so you don't have to read it. Basically, the Sims is updating. They're updating the Sims 4, so it will now have the split attraction model, which means that you can now be straight. Because previously every sim was span.
Yeah.
True. Now this is like good in multiple ways. One is because this setup is funny. But also, I appreciate that the split attention model is actually getting usage, and people are like, it's getting more normalized to people because I have to use that shit. But
You have to
also,
use what now?
the split attention model,
Oh,
like I'm asexual, yes, but technically, I'm supposed to lean one way or the other in other stuff, and the split attention model is just explaining that more or less. Like it's
I
literally
see.
just who does person want to fuck? Who does person want to be
Right.
in relationship with? And that's it. That's the attention model. And that's how they're implementing it into the Sims as well. There's just this drop down menu where you can just check if they wanna fuck men or women, and if they wanna be in a relationship with men and women. And if you want to play as an aerial person, and they brought that, I think I saw the Sims account bring this up. But if you just want to play as an aerial person, just uncheck them,
Yeah,
and then your sim will just not ever do anything with those interactions.
nifty.
Yeah, and this is good because of the funny image, and also what I just said. But it's also bad because it means that we might no longer get shit like Eliza getting together with Mary Core, you know.
That is true.
And like Eliza getting together with Mary Core is one of my favorite moments on this channel. Both because we spent all like it both it's the whole setup was very funny there in my opinion, just because it's a household with 8 people in it. 7 of them are men. Out of those seven,
Yeah.
out of those seven, 5 of them were trying to get with Eliza, and she chose the one woman. But yeah, so that's it for Sims news. Uh, then the other EA news, I guess, to close up on them, is EA announced that the new Skate is going to be just titled all lowercase Skate period, and will be a free-to-play live service game.
All right.
They're guessing it up.
I guess so.
Skate is on steroids again. But yeah, really the big takeaway from this is that uh DC's licensing they get it, like it requires more money now than it used in the early 2010s.
Mmm.
Because if you remember, half of the clothing in Skate 3 was DC.
Yeah.
Detective Comics getting into everything ruins them.
I guess on those Detective Comics.
And then the last one that I thought was noteworthy is that the Unity engine joins up with a malware company that's backlisted by Windows.
Can you repeat that? What?
So Unity, the video game engine company,
Yeah.
has joined up with a company that is well known for malware and is blacklisted by Windows.
Oh no.
So, uh, you know, as much as we may have a distaste for Fortnite and shit, and like the Epic Game Store more so actually, but good on Epic for making the Unreal Engine free. Thank God.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple people who have been working on or who are known, like people who use the Unity engine a lot, apparently from indie devs. I mean, multiple people have apparently said that they're gonna be switching over to other engines as soon as possible, which for some of them means finishing the thing they're working on right now and then making the next project on a different engine. But still,
Ah.
but yeah, this is a thing. Now, actually, wait a second, let me check because I just remember the tidbit that I was going to bring up. Yes, so all three of the topics I brought up are tied to EA because
Oh no.
the person who is in charge, or the guy, the CEO of Unity, is the former CEO of EA Games. So,
Oh no.
so you know, I don't know. I don't know how. I wasn't even paying attention to all of them being EA. It's just a funny coincidence, but still, shit. So yeah, that's all of the topics that I found,
All
and
right.
I guess we can leave on my favorite Sun Tzu quote. It is better to come in the sink than sink in the cum. The Art of War, Sun Tzu.
Oh, that's terrible.